Any chance that anyone survived here, and the rescue workers run. There's a call for silence. A cry for help from below ground has apparently been heard. And the people of Derna are desperate for some good news. A young volunteer tells the fire crews he's heard screaming twice, and he pinpoints the area it came from. But there's no heavy lifting equipment, so their efforts are by hand. A family of 3 girls lived here, but the home's been smashed to bits and the lower floors encased in mud and rubble. The volunteer who raised the alarm tells us he's certain he heard a scream. I'm sure, he says, 100%. But the city's been overwhelmed at the scale of the disaster and struggled to help every family with missing relatives. There was very little specialised equipment and few skilled rescuers on the ground in the crucial first few days. A number of international teams are now in place. This one is Russian and experienced in these challenging disaster zones. But more than a week on, the chances of finding anyone alive now are radically diminished. And this team knows it's almost certainly looking to retrieve bodies, which at least might give the relatives the chance of a funeral. It is utterly grim work, difficult and dangerous, with most of the water polluted and hazards hidden everywhere. Back across the city centre at the same buried home we were at earlier, there are still claims of noises. Now a much larger crowd has gathered.
The chances of someone surviving at this stage are very slim, but they are fired up with energy and enthusiasm to try and find this person. If he or she exists, they want to bring that person out alive.
Remarkably, a distant family friend says a call's been made from a little girl around 10 years old who's trapped with her sister under the rubble. That's enough to add yet more energy to this search.
Some people tell me somebody before 13 hours call him. It's under the floor, but the telephone charge is closed.
Gone?
Yeah, and give me the number of...
the house?
Yeah, his house. And now, when we search, I think it's in this area.
A call for quiet again. As the band of volunteer rescuers and soldiers grows, so does the excitement. They listen again for further noises and shout down the cavities they've uncovered. Bang the wall, he's urging. Then there's elation and quick celebrations. They're convinced they've heard a response, but the search will now shift slightly to a different area. But this is back-breaking and too slow, so they'll do what they can whilst they wait for the arrival of one of the few diggers. In a different part of the city, Libyan forensic investigators are also trying to find the many missing. They're using one of 3 devices they have, which can detect a corpse up to 40 meters below ground. There are still around 10,000 people unaccounted for. There are so many families waiting for answers. And so many Libyans desperate to help. This team is from an oil company using their ultrasound equipment to try to detect noise or movement. But many may never find their lost loved ones. With every day that passes, it's getting harder and harder. A digger has finally arrived at the search for the little girl below ground where we were before. But daylight's quickly disappearing, and an already difficult job has become even more challenging with no electricity. The huge slabs of concrete are much more easily shifted now, but the only light the searchers have is from their mobile phones, a few torches and our camera. The digging goes on for hours more, but with little to show for it. No one's hearing any more sounds below ground now. Hope alone has fueled this search. Hope and faith and a collective desire to help. The rescue team feel like they failed, but with so much stacked against them from the off. In truth, they, the little girl, and all the people of this city stood little chance. Alex Crawford, Sky News in Derna.